It's Ryan from Niche Facts with another online business idea. So the idea here is to build a local event website. I wrote a whole post on this at nichefacts.com/local-events. So the idea is to say you live in a particular city. What you would do is build up a local content site that can cover different aspects of things that are going on in your city. And since I live in New York City, there are several websites that I've come to rely on for finding things to do. So from a sort of a meta perspective, yeah, there are websites like Eventbrite and Meetup.com, and they're really great. You could book things on there, you could find things on there, but they'll always lack the sort of curated touch that you could find on more personalized websites. So I have a list of these websites that I use. One is Gary's Guide, another one is Printup List, there's the Skint, Guest of a Guest, Brooklyn-based, and these are all different kind of examples of local area websites that have interesting focuses and specialties. So from a high level, Gary's Guide, they're very much focused on tech events in the city. Printup List is like underground, curated, like underground New York City events. The Skint is focused on cheap and affordable things. Guest of a Guest is like really high-end events, like that you have to be invited to or purchase, a $500 ticket for. And Brooklyn-based, as you might imagine, is a Brooklyn area website, very content-heavy, as opposed to some of these other sites like Gary's Guide, Printup List, and the Skint. They don't do a ton of content. It's more just curating events, doing email marketing, especially in the case of the Skint. They're much more email marketing than Gary's Guide or Printup List. But just from a high level, it's a very interesting niche to get into because there's really so much opportunity for you to be able to grow a site in this niche, because it's not like you're competing to rank for a product term like best elliptical machine, and it's really what you make of it. If you live in a particular city, you can really drum up a lot of attention and interest just by examining what's going on and reporting on it and coming up with interesting things to do, which is really the main thrust of websites like this. So in terms of why I like this niche, and I'm going to get into a little bit some examples of the websites that I think do it well in the New York City area. Why I like it is because it's really a fun way to build out a local community resource. So a lot of people, maybe you're not attracted to building out an Amazon affiliate website. Maybe the idea of ranking for product reviews is boring to you, and I could certainly sympathize with that. So this is it's an interesting kind of approach to take on building an authority site, and it doesn't need to be your complete life. This could just be one site of several that you own, and then you just kind of build it up and you learn how to automate it, and it could just be a strong website in your portfolio of niche websites. And another reason why I like it is that it's pretty cheap to produce local event guides. You don't need to be super detailed. They can be, but in terms of just providing value, say you produce a weekly guide and it's like the 10 best things to do in Kansas for the week of November 1st through November 7th or something like that. And this is valuable information, and people would subscribe to you because it's useful to them, and you don't need to write up 1,000 words every single time. You can just curate information that's valuable to people. The third reason why I like it is that once you get going, you could really outsource a lot of the research responsibilities to a virtual assistant using Upwork. And that way, this may be further down the line once you've figured out how to operationalize things, but it's a really big win once you learn how to outsource redundant and repetitive tasks. Like, for instance, you could outsource the virtual assistant to go to certain websites, find the events, post them to your site, put them into an email, have them send the email and automate it. And they could just do that on a recurring basis. So you could really step away from this, especially once you have a bit of a size of, an email list, and you kind of have some growth there. That it's because initially maybe you'd have to do some hustle and some work to get this going. Another reason why I like this is sort of a pro and con. There are some unique monetization opportunities here. While it's not as easy as like Amazon affiliate, where you're just inserting a link and getting paid when people find you organically through Google and then clicking a link and buying, you can sell ad placements once you have a big enough list and it's really targeted, and you could show that people are actually opening your emails. You could put ads in those emails. You could send one-off broadcasts to your email list for local businesses. And this takes a little bit more work. You'd have to reach out to people. A lot of people don't like emerging from behind the curtain to actually do something like ad sales. But it wouldn't be that hard. If you have a list of 3,000 people in Topeka, Kansas, it makes sense that a local law firm would sponsor you in some way. And that could take different forms. Maybe it's a widget ad on your site. Maybe they just want to get access to your email list, so you send a link to their services in one of your emails. Things like that. Another reason why I like this is that you'll get returning visitors, as opposed to, say, an Amazon affiliate site unless it's a really good affiliate site where you're providing very, very good value. It's often harder to build up an email list. But with this, you get a lot of returning visitors week on week. If you're producing guides of what's the best thing to do in Topeka, Kansas in the month of December, people are going to keep coming back in January and February just to get good information that you're providing. And they're going to type it right into their address bar, and they're going to remember you, hopefully because you have a brandable domain name. And I have a whole post on that explains why that's important and how to choose one. So that's another really great value here, is that once you build up an audience, once someone comes once, they're going to come back again if you have good value, and especially if you capture their email. Another reason why I like this is that as you build up an email list, and as you establish brand authority and people returning to your site just because they know who you are and they remember your name, you become immune to a lot of the Google algorithm updates. You're not going to get penalized. Or let's say if Google never really likes your site, maybe you don't produce a ton of content, you don't get a lot of search traffic, or maybe, God forbid, you get penalized. Pretty unlikely unless you're doing something pretty untoward. You really aren't dependent on organic traffic. You're not dependent on a search engine to feed you your audience, like a lot of affiliate sites are that are 95% organic traffic, like mine are. So, which is one of the reasons why I started this site, is that I want to have more of an established brand with an email list, and I'm working around and outside of organic traffic, which is very variable and can just turn off one day and you're left with nothing. Another reason why I like this is that it's easy to create unique content for a dedicated audience. What did I mean by that? I'm trying to remember, actually. Yeah, I guess in the sense, like the Topeka, Kansas example, that you really have a wrapped audience. There are people. You're ultra focusing on providing value to a dedicated population of people, so it's highly relevant, it's highly useful, and it's easy to create value for them because no one is really focusing on providing like city level curated event experiences for them. Like I said before, websites like Meetup and Eventbrite, they're really great websites, and they are able to provide a lot of customized, curated value. But at the same time, it's never going to replace something that's a website that's specifically dedicated to that audience. And even further down, say you have a Topeka, Kansas website and it's focused on tech events or it's focused on music, that these large websites are never going to replace the common touch. And then, like I've already covered, you can build an email list with this audience, and that it may not grow to 100,000, depending on where you focus your efforts. If you're in Topeka, Kansas, or New York City, your audience size is going to vary. I should also say you live in some place where there just is not an audience, or maybe there's not a lot going on. There's nothing stopping you from profiling a nearby city, maybe one you personally want to move to one day and live in. All the information is on the internet, so you can always find things that are going on. You can really build out content for any location that you want to focus in. So I wanted to go over some of the sites that I like, and these are them right here. So the first one up is Gary's Guide. And Gary's Guide, what's really great about it, and everyone in New York City that goes to any sort of startup or digital marketing event, they know this very well, this website very well. It's also something I should mention, is that when, say like when I go to an event, people will say, oh, how did you hear about this event? And I say, oh, Gary's Guide. So the word of mouth really travels and multiplies. So if you have a website and people go to an event you recommend, they're going to say, how did you hear about it? And they'll say, oh, well, I was on this website that, curates events, and there's a good chance that you'll get a lot of word of mouth exposure. So anyway, Gary's Guide bills itself as a #1 resource for New York City tech, and it really does deliver. This is the heart of it right here. Like this website this homepage is updated sort of on a weekly basis. He probably does daily updates as well. So today is Wednesday, and he has this full list of things to do. And it's always interesting. It's really, you get a very quick glance. Like this, for instance, this would be a good event for me to go to. I'm a NYU graduate, so there's a entrepreneurial event happening today at 5:30. You register for the event, and see, he links out. So it goes to Facebook events. So he's not handling any of the registration on site. He's just linking out. And this is a very thin page. There's not a lot going on here. He's basically taking some of this information from the event website itself. I would be a little bit leery of doing too much of that, because you could always, that makes the website appear very thin. But at the same time, it's providing value, and I'm not sure what his organic traffic looks like, but it's at the end of the day, you're providing a really great user experience. It's really valuable information, and something like this can scale up very quickly, although you really have to focus on alternative traffic acquisition methods, because it's not so much an organic traffic play. Though at this point, like if I were to look at Ahrefs, let's see. If I were to look at Ahrefs here and see what his organic keyword rankings are, he ranks #7 for startup jobs, NYC, New York City startup jobs. So these are really not very good organic rankings. He doesn't, there's not a ton going on here. Actually, 27,000, but just looking at like I said, it's really not an organic play. Though stuff like this is a good keyword to own. Startup jobs, New York, Foursquare internship. But really, this is, like I said, really not an organic play. But the way he makes money is that these are all sponsored things. Become a data scientist. Transition to a career in clean energy. NYU is sponsoring this placement. he has an easy way to join his email newsletter, and he also does San Francisco, so he actually does 2 locations. So that's another thing. You can actually expand. Say you specialize in tech events in New York City. It makes sense that you would also take your expertise and do it in San Francisco as well. So this is a really cool little site. Like, he has a deals thing up here, so people can. He's probably doing some affiliate stuff here as well, or event spotlights. These are probably people that are paying to get access and exposure on his website. He has a job section, and this again, it's probably people pay him some amount. I'm speculating. I don't know for sure. People probably want to get very specialized access to people viewing the site, trying to fill jobs, the recruiters or the companies themselves, internal or external recruiters. So, check out garysguide.com for some inspiration if you're interested in this. Second website is the Printup List. I've been following this site for a very long time, and I like it a lot. At the same time, it's also very poorly designed, I have to say. It's difficult to use, and like this imagery is very chaotic and confusing. It sort of violates a lot of the user engagement best practices, having something this huge and unreadable at the top of the page. It's also very difficult to kind of filter through events. It's if she put a little bit more effort into kind of organizing this information, say the way Gary's Guide does it, in a much cleaner way. Even Gary's Guide having this up here is kind of annoying, but that's sort of the money-making aspect of things. But having something clean like that would dramatically improve this website. But at the same time, it provides really good information if you want to go to kind of these underground events in New York City that there are a lot of things that aren't not as well known. And I've gone to a lot of these events in my time. So she's also recently kind of expanded a lot of the stuff that she does. Like, she has a reviews section now, and this is like, not to be too critical, but this is a real eyesore reading stuff like this. It's kind of hard to digest. So she's making an effort here to do some affiliate marketing, or maybe this is a sponsored post. So there's a lot of stuff going on here that you could kind of emulate. She does parties of the week. It's a very good website. It really is. It provides a lot of good value that compensates for some of the difficulty of navigating it. Another website that I like is the Skint. And so the focus here is cheap events, free things, cheap events, which is really great. It's a really great concept. I like it a lot. It provides a lot of value just by finding inexpensive things to do in New York City. And again, this is not going to be a site that is going to get you a ton of organic traffic. So if we search through, we see only 4.7 thousand keywords. It's not a lot. This is not an organic traffic play. And you can see this is what they rank for. They rank for their brand term. That's their biggest. And that's indicative of the fact that they've built up a brand and people know if they want to find the website, they type in the Skint, like all their keyword, like free events, New York City. That's probably their best keyword they could possibly rank for, and they're in position 10 because it is a pretty competitive city to do SEO in. New York City events today, position 12, not even on the first page for that one. But like I said, it's because people know the site, they sign up to the email list, they're doing, I'm assuming, affiliate ticket sales. And this is a site I don't often come to, but I get the emails. So I mainly digest it by email, and then I come to the site that way. So they get a lot of traffic that way. And I haven't dived into the site too much. I usually just get the email, and it's a very curated, focused list of things to do. But see, they're making an effort here to help you find stuff, which is something, the Printup List could really take a lesson from this, that there are ways to kind of use their CMS, whether it's WordPress or not, to make it easier for visitors to navigate the site. And so yeah, this is another site that I really like. It's got a nice focus. It has a really great email list, and they're trying to get donations as well. So I find that like I would donate to them because I think they provide a ton of value. They're trying to help a very specific subset of people in New York City looking for inexpensive things to do. It's an expensive place to live, so there's a real legitimate, sort of core philosophy undergirding the site. It's providing people here who probably don't have a lot of discretionary income a way of finding fun things to do that help them, socially engage after work. So yeah, it's another great site. And yeah, of course they have social profiles, and they could really build up a brand here, and they have, as we've seen in the organic keyword traffic. And the next one, this one is a really cool site, I have to say, a guest of a guest. So it's focused on really high-end premier events. They've expanded a lot. I'm familiar with them in New York City, and I also somewhat the Hamptons because my parents have a house out there. Honestly, I haven't gone to a lot of these events because a lot of them are invite only, or they're like VIP events at the Natural History Museum on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and it's like $1,000 for a ticket. So it's a bit pricey for me, and I just personally I'm not that interested in some of the things, but it's really good. It's kind of aspirational, it's So the other interesting thing is that the best feature they used to have was free, and it was their calendar, and now they've actually gated their calendar. So now it's a recurring revenue model. So now you actually have to have an account to access the events. So if you click Unlock Access, now we're redirected to a membership page, and we have to pay $14.99, which really sucks, honestly. But it really is great value. Like, I'm sure they have a lot of people subscribing to this because they give you a little preview. So okay, today is Wednesday, December 6th, so we see a bunch of things that are going on. A pop-up travel agency, some sort of party there. There's a chocolate tasting at Newhouse Chocolates, wherever that is. Very cool. And they're a big content website. So I have actually not looked at the organic rankings, but I can just take a quick look now. And I think that they'll 308,000 keywords. That's pretty solid. And let's see what they actually are. Vegan restaurants, New York City, position 2. Guest of a Guest is a brand, number 1. Bottomless Brunch, NYC. Fun restaurants in NYC, number 1. Sex clubs, number 5. I'm not sure. So, and then with Ahrefs, you could actually look at what the page is. So looking at this, I hope this doesn't get me, banned on YouTube or something. It's a content article. Actually, it's a slideshow. So there's not much content going on here, but they rank for this term. And I'm sure they didn't set out to rank for it, but it gives them I'm sure they didn't set out like, oh, I want to rank number 1 for this particular term, but producing content and being recognized as a local authority, you're going to rank for these local terms. Best restaurants in New York City, position 12, that's very competitive. Boozy Brunch NYC, that's another one, good one. New York Quotes, so they do stuff like here's Ivanka Trump baby, so they do a lot of content. And they'll end up ranking for stuff like this. This is not like they set out to be ranked for this term, but they're just producing interesting content for their readership. So just in terms of the stuff that they do, look, here's one, hire a photographer. This has got to be some sort of, a guest of a guest brings you extensive events, blah, 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 blah. Oh, so okay, they're trying to basically you have an event you want them to profile. So this is a way for them to make money, and it helps them as well. If they're profiling a really cool event, they can write about it, they've got access to it, they can promote it. So it's a way of building engagement with people that are running events in New York City, and you probably pay them. Obviously you're paying them for them to come. So it's like lead generation as well. It's very interesting. YSK, I don't even see what that's about. I'm actually not sure. Oh, you should know Hamptons, blah, 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 blah. So I'm not exactly sure what that's trying to do. I'm sure it has very specific purpose. But this is a really cool website, and let me see what they've got on Instagram as well. So they've built up a really good brand. They've got 53,000 followers on Instagram. And that's really the name of the game, is building up a brand, providing value, building out these social profiles that are alternative traffic acquisition channels for them. Yeah, so check out Guest of a Guest. It's really cool. It's a great inspiration. Maybe you want to do a high-end website like this. Maybe you want to gate your content and your event calendar and charge people $20 a month for your, premium access to your website. That's an amazing model. I mean, stuff like that, like $20 a month, and you get 1,000 people paying it, or 500. I mean, you could do the math on it, and all of a sudden you have this amazing recurring revenue stream. So the last one is Brooklyn based, and this one is really like a content site. It's a ticketing site. They help you find events, but like I said, it's a big content focused site, even more so than Guest of a Guest, in my opinion. But maybe they may not, they don't rank for as many keywords, but they also are not as broadly focused as Guest of a Guest, because the Guest of a Guest is doing New York City, it's doing Los Angeles, Hamptons, Washington, Miami, San Francisco, Chicago, whereas Brooklyn, I mean, it's obviously a much smaller search volumes, much smaller audience that they're serving. I live in Brooklyn, so that's a trade-off. Is that I live in Brooklyn, and obviously I see a site like this, I know it's tailored exactly to my interests. So it's a smaller audience, but it's also something that people have more of an immediate allegiance to. So there's a ton of content. Here we go, December culture calendar. Like, that's right front and center. That's what they want you to really look at. So, so it's a list of 10 things that they like to do. Actually, this looks sort of like a new show in sci-fi. So it's actually television. I'm trying to see if they're doing any sort of affiliate. It doesn't look like there's an affiliate link in that one. So it's actually Culture Essentials for December 2000. These are not live events. It's actually, this one is hip-hop version, and they're using a bit.ly link. So there's a chance that this is some sort of affiliate link. Ticketmaster, and I did a video before about the ticket affiliate niche. So this is, I'm assuming they're in the affiliate program for Ticketmaster. So it's a smart way to kind of create content that's monetized with affiliate links. Let's see if they have an affiliate. They don't actually have an affiliate disclosure, but that's neither here nor there. That's just my speculation, that I'm pretty sure that's an affiliate link. The fact that they're using bit.ly to probably track it, make it easier on the eyes when people hover over the link. So they do a lot of cool things in the site. They break it down into different categories, makes it really easy to navigate. You check out their Instagram. So looking at their Instagram, they got 11,000 followers, and that's good. This is a very, it's a tight focus area. It's Brooklyn. It's one borough of a 5-borough city. So I really, it's a great way to specialize in providing valuable content to a very small, dedicated, and curated audience. And I get their emails and I read their emails and open them and engage with them. So, I'm familiar with them, and they do a nice roundup of different events to do. So, for instance, this is what an ideal week would look like in Brooklyn. And again, they may have some sort of relationship with these particular events. Maybe they're sponsored. Maybe there's some other way that these events are getting listed. But that's really what you can do. The interesting thing that you can do with these sites is that you can really specialize in an area, provide interesting breakdowns of what's going on. And I would recommend doing it in a way that's like easy to digest, like Gary's guide does, as opposed to more of the scattershot approach or the Printup List. But that's really the idea that I covered in this post on nichefacts.com. So I go through a lot of the things that I like about the sites. And the other thing that I like about this that I didn't really go over is that, say you're doing Topeka, Kansas, and you become known as this person with this website that profiles events, you're going to get invited to events. You're going to get VIP treatment. You're going to get access to free access to things, which is really cool. Maybe this is a great way to kind of improve your social life. You'll be on the red carpet in your local town. They'll be inviting you to all sorts of interesting things because they want you to write about it. So that's a really interesting aspect of it. And let me just think, is there anything else that's really it. Like I also cover sort of the traffic aspects of it. It's really not going to be an organic traffic play. There's a couple keywords that will probably be logical for you to target and eventually rank for, but the majority of the traffic is going to come just from you hustling on social media, letting people know, for instance, hey, we profiled your event, we listed it, and just getting exposure that way. Just you really have to grind it out in the beginning. But what I like about it is that over time you'll get word of mouth referrals. People will just be visiting your site and signing up, and it'll grow virally, it'll grow incrementally. So you have to keep that in mind. And then also, it's not so easy to monetize as having a straight affiliate site. The path to monetization is a little bit slower, but it's also can be incredibly profitable as well. As you see with Guest of a Guest, they're charging whatever they were charging on a monthly basis for access. So it's a really cool idea. Just let me know in the comment section what you think. I respond to all comments. And that's it. I'll see you in the next video.